Hi, and welcome to today's podcast. I am your host, Jen Bjarnson. And before we get started, if you enjoy this podcast at all, I am on Basic to Bold on all social media platforms. And it is basictobold.com if you want to go look at free resources on dealing with mental health and hypnotherapy, all the things that I talk about, changing your mindset, changing your story. All right, so let's dive into what I want to talk about today. One of the things that I have tried a few years ago, I really got into this concept. I heard it from one of my mentors, and they said, choose your challenge or your challenges will choose you. And that to me kind of blew my mind because here's what I always used to think. I used to think that if I was doing something hard, it would just add to my life. If I chose something that was difficult, if I tried to do any more, I felt like my life was already challenging enough. I felt like I was fighting my head. I didn't know what made me happy. I didn't know really who I was in life. And so I felt like it would add a crazy amount of challenge to my life instead of this concept of making my life better, if that makes sense. And so honestly, I was looking at life, and when I heard this concept of choose your challenge or your challenges will choose you, I thought, I'm already going through a crazy amount of stuff. I don't need to add on to it. It's kind of like for me, I don't like scary movies. And one of the reasons I don't like scary movies is because I'm thinking the majority of my brain naturally goes to what's wrong anyway. I don't need anybody giving me more ideas of more things that could go wrong. That was kind of the concept that I had. And the reality was, I really tried to take this concept of choosing your hard or doing these hard things and see if it made a difference. So a few years ago, after I'd heard this, I thought, okay, I'm going to give this a try and see if I can maintain it and see if I can truly do it. And it was a very interesting year. I really tried to do things that challenged me. I tried to do things that were really hard. And I think for other people, it probably seemed like a normal thing to do, like something, oh my gosh, how fun. Oh, you're going to go to this, conference by yourself. What a great weekend. But the reality was, for me, that next step, even though it looked super fun, even though it looked like this great time, it was really, really hard next step because it was a lot of stuff I'd never done before. It was stepping out of my comfort zone and going 100% alone to a conference. I didn't know anybody. I didn't room with anybody. I was totally by myself. And that's just one example, but it was a full year of me trying to do these really hard things. And when I started looking back, first it was full panic attacks. It was all these crazy, like, I cannot handle this. I don't think I'm going to be able to sustain this. All of these things that go through your head of my life's already hard. Can I maintain this? Like, what? Right? Imposter syndrome. I can't do this. It was really a hard thing. But here's what I learned. The interesting thing that I found is as I was working through stuff, I found that the other stuff that I couldn't control kind of went away. And now the only challenges in my life, I shouldn't say the only ones, but the majority of the challenges in my life were the ones I was choosing, which was fascinating because before this idea, before I was doing this, I would do things and I would just allow life to happen to me. And I wasn't really living life. I was just I was on defense. I was combating life. And it was such a shift in my mind and such a shift in view in what I was dealing with, because the reality was now I was going through hard things, but when I came out of those hard things, when I got finished with a hard thing or I learned from that hard thing, I actually wanted the result. The thing that I recognized is when I went through life and just let life happen to me and I didn't choose my heart. I didn't try to go after things that were hard. I just was kind of like holding it off as much as possible and just trying to take life easy. And then when it would come, I would be like, oh no, no, okay, I don't want this to happen to me. And then just kind of endure it. And I don't know if you've ever heard endure to the end, just endure life. That's how I was living. That's how I was managing life. And then this concept of choose your hard or choose your challenges or your challenges will choose you. My challenges were choosing me. And then I shifted it to, okay, I'm going to choose my challenges. I'm going to choose the hard thing. And the thing that blew my mind is what happened is those other things that just would randomly showed up, they stopped showing up. One of the best things I could explain it is I really put myself in difficult situations. And so then when normally people would say, "Oh, can you do this?" or "Oh, we would like you to do this." That wasn't a thing anymore because I was busy. I had stuff to do. I was already doing stuff, and it was really fascinating the concept of either you're going to choose your challenges or those hard things are just going to show up anyways. The only difference is when you choose it, the choice is a result that you actually want. The result when you get done is actually something you're genuinely interested in and genuinely proud of. And you get proud of yourself because you're going, well, that's something useful. On the opposite side, when you're pushing away challenges or struggles and you don't want to grow and you're trying to just stay in this really happy place, now you get challenges and typically you get done with the challenge and you didn't even want that challenge. You get done and yes, you endured it. Yes, you accomplished something, but you're like, okay, all right, that happened. Whereas when you go actually after something you want, you get down to the result and there's pride and there's a level of confidence of stuff that you accomplished by yourself and you figured it out by yourself. And I could have never understood that until I started choosing my challenges and choosing my hard. One thing I think people also don't understand, which I didn't understand this, is a lot of times we think if we don't do hard things won't show up. And that's not true. It's kind of like the idea of, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to work out. And I'm going to use this example because it's a really easy one that I think we all either we've dealt with it in our life or we've seen people directly affected that we know personally. And the concept is I don't want to take care of my health. I don't want to work out or I don't want to eat healthy. I don't want to take care of my health, whatever that looks like for you. I'm not talking about a specific weight. I'm just talking about health in general. And the fact is, people, maybe it's you that have not taken care of their health. And then they think, oh, I should do this. Oh, I should do this. Oh, I should eat better. I should do this. And it's years and years and years. And then at some point, they're now dealing with the struggles of their health. That is everything in life. If you don't choose to do the hard thing will happen eventually later on. And the interesting thing is, for some reason, at least me, I had this belief that if I put off the hard thing in doing the hard thing, that was just me putting it off. But it's not. It's not you putting it off. It's you putting it off for a later date. So either you do the hard thing up front and there is a reward that you want in the afterwards, or you put it off and you get this temporary, like, it's okay, but you should be doing it. And then later on, it's typically too late. It's typically past the time to do anything about it. Same with like in a relationship. In a relationship, you know you should be nice to each other. You know you should talk kind. You know you should communicate and figure things out. And eventually, over time, if you don't do it, you don't do it, you don't do it. Well, then now you try to go to Fiji on this amazing vacation to try and fix 10 years of not doing the thing that you should have been doing. And it it's not that it's too late, but sometimes it's too late. Sometimes it's past, like it's too late. And we do that in every aspect of our life. And I remember sitting one time, it was in a women's group and we were talking about challenges. And I was blown away because I sat there and somebody had mentioned, they said, "Oh, what do we, I was something about challenges and what do we do with when challenges come? And it was really fascinating that almost every single person in that room, every woman in that room actively ran from challenges, actively and was proud of the fact that she said, that they said, oh, I do everything possible to not have a challenge, to not get back, and to not deal with life struggles. And I thought, you're actively pushing away growth. You're actively pushing away a better life. You're actively pushing away the thing that's going to make you happier and better. And that blew my mind, because I can truly say I don't think, maybe I'm wrong, I could be wrong, but I cannot think of a time in my life where I was that type of person. I've always kind of been a person to strive fixing and getting better. And so to be in a room full of people who were actively pushing away growth and actively pushing away a challenge was such an interesting concept to me. And then as I looked around, I thought, oh, that's the majority of people. But the reality is, then they couldn't figure out why they weren't happy with life. They couldn't figure out why they weren't getting the things that they wanted. And I thought, how I thought it was interesting that they weren't putting the two together. But I think that's a lot of times. I think, and I'm sure somewhere in my life, I'm not putting the two things together. But that's kind of my point. The reality is that by doing hard things, you're going to come out the other side and be excited about something. And if you're not excited about something, try doing hard things. Now, I do want to preface this with, sometimes the hard thing is really small. Sometimes the hard thing is really, really basic because you've been struggling and you've been fighting your head, and it's been a really hard time in life. That sometimes that is the case. And sometimes maybe you're the type of person that no matter what you do, you need to do better or you need to do more. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, as long as you're moving forward, as long as I don't care if it's crawling on your hands and knees. I don't care if it's belly crawling, but you're moving forward, and maybe not even moving forward. Maybe you're just heading in the right direction. You're like, I know I need to go that way. Okay. I know I need to go that. Okay. Okay. Ready? I know I need to do it. And maybe you're just heading in the right direction, but you're kind of like hyping yourself up. Even that's progress. Even that's something. Because if you're the type of person, you're like, I'm going to move it. I need a minute. I need a minute. That's okay. That's okay. Trust me. I am the type of person where, on the regular, I will look at my spouse, or I'll look at a friend and I'll say, I'm giving up for today. I'm giving up for today. Like that's where I'm at. I'm giving up. I'm not giving up forever. I'm not giving up for a year. I'm just, you got to give me a day or like a week, right? Like I am a firm believer that sometimes giving up is lifesaver. As long as you fully know you can't give up forever. At some point you got to pick up and go. You got to pick up and keep pushing forward. But choosing your hard, choosing the thing that you want to go after is absolutely life-changing, because it gives you the choice of what you're working on. And it starts putting you in the mentality of life is happening for you, not life is happening to you. I had heard that for quite a few years when people said, I believe life is happening for me, not to me. And I really could not understand what they were talking about until I started this practice. And once I started actively choosing things that sounded horrific, but I wanted the result for. I wanted the result, but I'm like, oh, that sounds horrible. I don't really want to do that, but I really want the result of it. When I started doing that and choosing hard things in life to accomplish and actively going after it, that's when I started understanding, oh, life is happening for me, not life is happening to me. Life was happening to me when I was just being blindsided from challenges, when I was just trying to avoid challenges and trying to do hard things. When I was trying to avoid it, life was happening to me. And it felt that way. And I felt like I had zero control. But the number one thing I did to get control back in life was start choosing something that I wanted and going after it, even though it sounded awful, even though it sounded horrendous. And sometimes that horrendous was you got to get up. You got to have a somewhat good breakfast. Like you can't just not eat, or you can't just have like an energy drink for breakfast. Like you got to eat something semi healthy. That sometimes was the challenge, and it sounded awful at times. And then other times it was really, really hard things, really hard things. It was like, you have to sit here and build this website. And it was painful. The amount of fighting of my head, the amount of screaming in my head of like, oh my gosh, I do not want to do this. This is so painful. I cannot concentrate. I just want to go do something else. It's hard. But as soon as I started choosing my heart, as soon as I started choosing the hard things that I wanted to accomplish, those other things disappeared. All right. I am so grateful that you guys, if you're still listening, thank you so much. Love you guys. I truly, truly appreciate it. Um, and like I said, if you guys want to connect with me, I am on Basic to Bold on all social media platforms, including like this, the podcast. This is also shown on YouTube. If you want to go see the audio, that's your jam. But also if you want to connect, I'm on TikTok, on uh all the things, Instagram. So very, very, very highly tech person, as you can tell. But all right, well, I appreciate you hanging out. If you're still hanging out with me, and I appreciate you guys and appreciate you guys spending time with me. So I will see you next time.